SBL is a case study. And if you can work out who the actual company is, the real company behind the fictitious case study pre-scene information, that puts you at real advantage.
So, Ben, do they always base them on a real company, or are you just guessing here?
No, this is actually what happens. My insight from my experience as an examiner. What they do is they take a real company and then change some of the details. The reason they base it on a real company is, like anything where you're trying to be creative, starting with a blank piece of paper is really hard. Starting with an idea from somewhere else as your starting point, much easier. And you can make it all realistic because it's real. So there will be a real company behind Levwell. And, well, cue drum roll.
You haven't found
we know who it is.
You found it. See, the thing is, Ben, I'm from Luton. The hotels I stay in are Travelodge, Premier Inn, all these sort of budget chains. You stay in much nicer hotels, so you've got a bit of an advantage in this case study, I'd say.
Absolutely. And of course, I have done loads of extensive research that led me to this insight. And I did not just use ChatGPT to help me find out that the name of the case study company this time is Handpicked Hotels.
Handpicked Hotels. Okay. Not stayed. Have you stayed in one before?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay.
But they sound really nice. And if you go on their website, Handpicked Hotels, it tells you all about them. They have 21 country and rural hotels.
Okay.
So not slightly different to Levwell, because Levwell has, Andrew, I'm going to test you. How many?
35. Come on, Ben.
35. And Julia and Guy Hands, two individuals, so presumably a married couple, own Handpicked Hotels.
Okay.
But we, Levwell, Andrew?
Are owned by 80% institutional investors.
Absolutely, we are. We're a listed organisation. So the details are different, right? It's not exactly the same company. But if you could do a bit of research on Handpicked Hotels, is a really good one. Right, to just look around on their website, see the kind of stuff that they do. They've got this really nice little link up with Bollinger. I mean, is that a champagne that you enjoy, Andrew?
I tend to stick to the sort of the budget lagers. What is it?
And wellness retreats. Well, anyway, tells you about the sort of stuff that they offer. And what does their website look like? You can do a bit of mystery shopping to see what they're like as a user experience. So it's really worth looking at Handpicked Hotels. They're my number one shout for who this company really is.
Okay.
But Q Hotels is another one, and McDonald Hotels are also broadly worth you looking at. Another one called Malmaison as well. That's another one that's worth doing a bit of research into, because the more you can research real companies and really get yourself involved in the case study, the more better you will be able to react to whatever you're told on the day of the exam.
Yeah, got to be a bit careful, and we're not just to recite a load of don't go mad on this and start telling the examiner all about a lovely holiday. Oh, I paid for a week in in one of these hotels as research. You can overdo it, but having this understanding. And what I find really useful with this is just knowing, like, right, in the real world, what have they been doing strategically? What have they been doing? And if only we knew what some of these hotels, say Handpicked Hotels.
If only I'd been able to find out all of the stuff that Handpicked Hotels have been up to that's really, really relevant to the SBL case. Oh, no, I have. I have found that out.
Have you? You're not going to tell us on here, are you?
You're in luck, I am. So the first one is that they've been refurbishing some of their hotels.
Okay.
How much do you reckon it costs to refurbish a luxury hotel, Andrew?
It's a great question. So what I do know about our case, is they're looking to refurbish them every 10 years. So, and they've got 35 hotels. So whatever this number is, I'm hoping it's small for the purposes of our company. Otherwise,
they spend £1.5 million. I mean, it would be dollars in the exam in Estland. But yeah, £1.5 million, which is a chunk of change, refurbishing their hotels. Quite a big cash outflow to do that. So they've out of their 21, they have refurbished 2 of them in the last year.
Okay.
So they're on a rolling 10-year pattern. You can see why I think that hotels. They also have been really doubling down on their green credentials. They've got some green accreditation that their stakeholders and customers really care about. So they're really going in for sustainability stuff, which again, real linking with our case study.
Yeah, massively. And it feels like sustainability is a bit weird in our case, doesn't it? Because they mention it quite a lot about it being important in the industry, but then there's nothing about it in their KPIs. It mentions it really briefly in their values, but that's it. So, like, it feels like a bit of a gap.
Absolutely. The other thing that they've been up to is they have been acquiring new locations. So
Oh,
they've been
nice.
acquiring new hotels, not going down a franchising route, which we
Okay.
think this case study actually sounds like it's going to go down the franchising route.
Could be.
But
But Levwell, as it stands, Levwell have just been growing organically, haven't they? So it does feel like, yeah, this is their current.
yeah, I mean, it's worked in the past. So
Yeah.
why would you change a winning formula? Right. So
Okay.
they've grown organically by, making their existing hotels make more money, get more sales, whatever, but also by bringing individual new hotels into the group.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it looks like that's probably what they're going to do, possibly what they're going to do. And that's certainly what Handpicked Hotels have been doing. And they've brought in, I think, a couple of new locations. You don't want to overdo it. Buying in too many at the same time gives you kind of stretching your management team too much, all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it talks particularly for Handpicked Hotels about how important the locations are. Getting
Okay.
that decision right. It's not just we're acquiring any old hotel so that we can get bigger. It's about finding hotels and owner managers of those hotels who are a good strategic fit with us, with our values, with our brand, and this sort of stuff.
Yeah, location is massive, isn't it? I'd say that's one of the biggest factors because, again, the cheap and horrible hotels I tend to stay in, like you might have to walk miles to get into the town centre, or they tend to be in a bit of a rough area. Whereas the hotels you stay in, the lovely high-end ones, you're going to be in prime location, sea view, all that sort of stuff. It's
Yeah, so we are Levwell are a rural and countryside chain, right? So they are coastal locations, presumably with nice views and all this sort of stuff. But you've got to be in the right coastal location. You need to be near enough to large urban, big cities or whatever, so that people can travel relatively easily to get to where you are, and nice country locations. That's where that's but good transport links. And it talks about that for Handpicked Hotels as being a really key factor. It's not just, this is a beautiful hotel on a cliff top with nice views. It's that it's quite near a main line train station, and it's near good road links so that people can get there relatively easily by train or by car.
Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah. Okay. And do you know how Handpicked Hotels are performing? Like, are they seeing similar growth to Levwell? Do we know about them or not?
You put me on the spot there, and I have not researched that, so
Okay,
I don't know. But that's a great segue, Andrew, into saying to everyone who's watching this video, go and do some of your own research. Look at their finances. What's their cash position like? What's their revenue growth been like? What KPIs do they measure? Because if you're having insight into what a real company measures, then if KPIs come up in your exam, you've just got you can't say Handpicked Hotels do this, but you have just had a bit of a structured thought about what could go into your answer.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, without pre-preparing it too much. But there's always this great background stuff. But you remember, you've got to answer the question that you've been set on the exam day. The examiner reports always are saying in SBL, students have just prepared an answer and they've just recited it, almost like that mentions something about KPIs. Here we go. Here's a load of pre-prepared. We can't do that. It's all about answering the question, which I'm sure you guys will.
And you've got to base everything in your answer on the facts you are given in the scenario on exam day. It can't be anything you've pre-prepared. All of this pre-prepared stuff that we're saying, go and look at this stuff on Handpicked Hotels, is your training, right? It's you getting ready for a job interview by thinking about what the company does and thinking about what your answers to some questions might be. But you still have to answer the question that you are asked in that job interview if you hope to get that job.
Yeah. If I said to you, Ben, Ben, tell me a time that you've had to work as part of a team, and you said, well, Handpicked Hotels were formed in 1983 by. It's just going to be. No, sorry, that's
but
not.
It is a team between Guy Hands and his wife Julie, or whatever.
True.
So that's
you're right,
the time when Handpicked Hotels worked as part of a team.
Yeah. Got to be careful. But
okay,
that's great.
So we're actually a little bit ahead of time here, Andrew. We said 10 minutes and we're at 9 minutes, but hopefully you found that insightful. Go off and do some of your own research, but don't over-rely on this. But I hope you found this useful.
And don't forget to check out our other videos on Club SBL and keep an eye out on LinkedIn. We'll be posting lots of stuff ahead of this exam as well to get you guys ready to go. Best of luck.